Or ABC 10 News at 5 starts right now.
Parents say they feel blindsided after learning their kids will not go back to campus for now. Why the state denied in-person learning waivers for 3 local school districts.
Plus, San Diego is gearing up for spring break travelers despite the pandemic. How local businesses are preparing for the uptick in visitors.
And new CDC guidelines giving hope to those fully vaccinated against COVID-19.
ABC 10 News at 5 starts now.
Thousands of North County students will not return to in-person learning for now after the state denied waivers for 3 local school districts. Good evening, I'm Lindsay Pena.
And I'm Steve Atkinson. A lot of parents, as you might imagine, they are upset. Our ABC 10 News reporter Rachel Bianco breaks down why the state made its decision to deny those waivers.
High school and middle school campuses across North County will remain mostly empty. Danielle Alphen says her 6th grade daughter was excited to go to middle school for the first time, only to be disappointed again.
I wish I had captured on video the countless times I have had to tell my 6th grader, I'm sorry, they changed their mind again and you don't get to go back to school.
It's a conversation families in the Poway Unified, Carlsbad Unified, and the San Diego Union High School districts all had Sunday night.
Frustration, anger that our state is denying my child and thousands of others access to their own education at their own schools with really arbitrary rationale.
There's a reason that we're last in the country in-person learning, and it's because the state is not interested in letting our schools reopen for whatever reason.
San Diego County Health okayed the plans for all 3 districts to reopen for hybrid instruction while the county is still in the purple tier. State approval was the last step and one many thought was a formality.
And for the last minute, the state to just yank that away for what I would call very arbitrary and capricious reasons, to me, it's just unacceptable.
One of the reasons listed in this letter says districts can only return with a ratio of 1 teacher all day per 15 students.
If I go down that list, I'm like, check, check, check. I've met all of them except for the one that says a cohort has to be with 1 teacher. Well, I obviously can't do that with middle and high school.
The 3 districts are a part of a lawsuit against the state.
It seems how decisions are being made right now in California predicates on the strength of an argument you can put before a judge. I just don't think that's a great way to run our state.
A judge will hear their case Wednesday. Rachel Bianco, ABC 10 News.
And this afternoon, Carlsbad superintendent announced that 6th graders are allowed to return for a hybrid model of in-person instruction starting tomorrow under the variants of these new state guidelines. Poway was planning to go back on the 17th, but the county may be in the red tier by then.
And here are the latest numbers on the coronavirus in San Diego County. More than 300 cases were reported today, bringing our total to more than 263,000. And there were no new deaths, which is typical for a Monday, so that number remains at 3,390. Spring break is upon us, and many parts of the country are already seeing a spike in tourism. ABC 10 News reporter Rena Nakano shows us how San Diego is gearing up for more travelers while still following COVID guidelines.
Beach towns always get a big draw when it comes to spring break, but Erez Atava says last year was dismal.
We didn't have any spring break. We closed the store for 2 months.
The owner of the bikini shop in Mission Beach says California's strict stay-at-home order and travel guidelines made sales plummet.
Really, really tough. We lost a lot of tourists, especially the one from overseas.
Meanwhile, in Florida, there is already a surge in college spring breakers from around the nation, hitting the beaches, increasing concerns of COVID spread.
We're not looking to get the wild crowd here.
Bob Rausch with RIR Hospitality says San Diego normally does not see too much of the rowdy college crowd, more of families and nearby vacationers who drive from places like LA and Arizona. He says compared to last year's virtually 0 hotel occupancy, things are slightly looking up.
The weekends have really been picking up. There's a lot of what I'll call pent-up demand, or as other people have referred to as revenge travel.
Interestingly, he says many of the current bookings are made by older folks, and it all has to do with vaccine eligibility.
Well, the vaccine is a huge jumpstart for tourism because at least the first 10 to 15% who have received both shots, they are starting to travel.
Rausch says slowly those younger than 65 are also making reservations.
We might be able to get a bounce where families will come and stay for the entire week for the next 4 to 6 weeks.
Back at the bikini shop, Adama continues to practice strict COVID protocols. He's hoping to welcome back travelers who skipped out on San Diego last year.
We're just hopeful that it's going to be okay.
Rena Nakano, ABC 10 News.
Hotel experts say during spring break 2019, hotels were running at 100% capacity at around $200 a room. Last year was 0 and 0. But this year, they're projecting hotels will be at 70% capacity at $100 a room.
That is better. Fully vaccinated Americans can gather with other vaccinated people indoors without wearing masks or social distancing. This is according to long-awaited guidance from the CDC. Our ABC 10 News reporter Marie Cornell breaks down the new recommendations.
In San Diego County, 12% of our population has gotten vaccinated. Today, the CDC released new guidelines about how those vaccinated can safely visit with others. The CDC says these recommendations are for those who are fully vaccinated, which means it's already been 2 weeks since they received their second Moderna or Pfizer vaccine, or 2 weeks after getting their Johnson & Johnson single-dose vaccine. Under these guidelines, those people can safely visit indoors with others who are fully vaccinated without wearing masks or have to practice social distancing. The CDC also suggests fully vaccinated people can visit with unvaccinated people from another household without masks if people there are at low risk of severe COVID-19. The CDC says those who have gotten the full dose of a COVID-19 vaccine also won't need to quarantine or get tested following a known exposure to COVID-19 if they aren't showing any symptoms. Health officials say while restrictions are loosening up, they warn there's still a lot of unknown when it comes to the transmission of COVID-19, specifically from those who are vaccinated to those who are not. So they are reminding people to continue taking precautions when in public.
People who are vaccinated, there's increasing data now that suggests that they might get breakthrough infections with lesser amounts of virus, lesser amounts of disease, lesser symptomatic disease, milder disease. However, we're still waiting for data to emerge about whether they could transmit that virus to other people.
That's why the CDC recommends that everyone should continue wearing masks when in a public setting. The CDC says the next set of guidelines will likely address travel restrictions for those who are fully vaccinated. Marie Cornell, ABC 10 News.
Well, the stage is set for the House to vote this week on that nearly $2 trillion COVID relief package. The Senate passed the bill this last weekend, cutting the proposed $15 minimum wage increase. The House is expected to narrowly pass the package along party lines. If it does, millions of Americans could start receiving their stimulus checks within weeks.
People won't have to wait months and months and months. It'll be right in their pocket.
That bill includes $1,400 stimulus checks for individuals earning up to $75,000 a year, $300 per week in federal unemployment benefits, an expansion of the child tax credit, plus billions of dollars in funding for vaccines, schools, state and local governments as well. And you can follow any new developments surrounding the pandemic by downloading our free mobile app. Just go to the App Store and search 10 News.
CHP says a wrong-way driver who caused a head-on crash overnight has been arrested for DUI. It happened early this morning on the eastbound 94 just east of Federal Boulevard in Emerald Hills. A Nissan was heading the wrong way down the eastbound lanes when it smashed into a Volkswagen Beetle. Both drivers were sent to the hospital with moderate injuries. And police are looking for the driver of this car speeding off in the top left corner of the video. Right there, police say that driver hit a man putting his child in the back seat of a car in a parking lot in the Mid-City area yesterday. He pinned the man against the car door and drove off. That man was seriously hurt. The car is a silver Saturn Vue like this one. If you have any information, call police or Crime Stoppers. Police are investigating after a body was found on the shores of Coronado. They say a jogger spotted that body just before 5:30 this morning on Central Beach. The county medical examiner is working to determine the cause of death, but investigators say foul play does not appear to be involved, and there were no signs of trauma to the body.
Jury selection has been delayed in the trial of that former Minneapolis police officer seen kneeling on George Floyd's neck before he died. The court is now considering whether to reinstate third-degree murder charges. As ABC's Alex Perche shows us, this trial is drawing a lot of attention from protesters.
This afternoon, protesters marching outside the Hennepin County Government Center. Inside, the trial of Derek Chauvin, the former Minneapolis police officer charged with murdering George Floyd, is delayed. Chauvin's defense is appealing to the state Supreme Court over reinstating a third-degree murder charge after an appeals court ruled the judge in this case must reconsider it. The prosecution argued that should delay jury selection.
So this court would be making decisions about jurors for a trial about which we don't know what the exact charges are going to be yet.
When the judge here ruled the selection should still go forward, they appealed. Reinstating a third-degree murder charge could have a major impact on this case.
If the third-degree murder charge is reinstated, that provides prosecutors with a murder charge where they still don't necessarily have to prove that he intended to kill George Floyd.
This morning, Chauvin seen inside the courtroom in a blue suit and black mask, listening attentively and taking notes. He's facing second-degree murder and second-degree manslaughter charges, accused of killing Floyd by kneeling on his neck for more than 9 minutes, pleading not guilty. The attention of this trial heightening security, razor wire, fencing, and barricades around the courthouse. When jury selection does resume, it's expected to take 3 weeks. The most severe charge that Chauvin is facing, that second-degree murder, comes with a maximum sentence of 40 years. However, experts have pointed out, due to Minnesota sentencing guidelines, a case like this, it's more likely in the range of 10 to 15 years. Alex Brachet, ABC News, Minneapolis.
And there are growing calls for New York Governor Andrew Cuomo to step down. This comes after 2 more former aides accused the governor over the weekend of inappropriate behavior, including harassment. Karen Hinton, who worked as Cuomo's press aide in 2000, spoke to the Washington Post. She said the governor invited her to his hotel room after a work event and allegedly embraced her in an intimate way. As more accusations come forward, New York lawmakers are now asking for Cuomo to step aside.
His abusive use of power has been evident, and the damage these abuses have caused have capsized his reputation and the public trust that comes with it.
Governor Cuomo said he has no plans to resign and will continue his work.